Boys and girls of the internet, guitar hunters near and far, here is a freaking cool Peavey Classic 20. It's bitey, it's cool, it's dynamic, it's a really great amp. All in all, it's a ton of amp for the money. I think that they're really great. You should check these out if you find one. It's EL84s, 12AX7s. It's a tweed. It's a gritty little dynamic, powerful, small amp. This is the third one of these I've owned. I found a good deal on these. These are great sleepers. If you don't know about them, you should. They don't sell for a ton of money. They used to sell for like almost nothing, like $150, $200. Now I got this one for $225. Most of them are between $350 and $400 now. They're super cool, but this one has a problem. But more than that, I have a problem with Peavey. So let's talk about the problem with Peavey and the problem with this Peavey. So this amp has a microphonic tube. I want to show you what that sounds like. So check this out. It's this super annoying sound that happens when you just touch the power tubes. So check this out. So I'm just going to turn it on. And if I turn up the preamp, even without it plugged in, we should start getting a hum here soon. There it is. Hear that? Okay, so first our plan is to swap out the tubes in here, and then we're going to see if that fixes the problem. So these are old Mesa tubes. So usually what happens with these, when you get a microphonic tube, is that one of these spacers in here will go out and it will start resonating and buzzing against the glass, and it will start making an annoying noise. So here's a matched set of EL84s that I bought this past week. So with some JJs here. So let's see if that works. I think if you're a guitar player, you have a strong connection with Peavey. I think most everyone that has played an electric guitar in their lives started out with a Peavey Bandit or a Peavey Envoy or a Peavey Rage 158, these small solid-state amps. So Peavey has been a huge part of people discovering themselves, learning how to play guitar, playing in a band. I remember one of the bands I was in when I was maybe 16. We were loading into my parents' basement after a show, and I was carrying my Peavey Bandit 112. And I tripped at the top of the stairs. I caught myself, but I dropped the amp. And this amp just clang, 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 just tumbled its way to the bottom of the stairs, and it was awful. And so I went and I picked it up, and I went and I plugged it in, and it worked perfectly. Rock steady. So growing up in the music scene that I grew up in, the worst thing that you could be told that you were, the worst thing for you was to be called a sellout. So I have a problem with Peavey. Yes, this amp isn't working right, but we'll fix that. But I have a problem with modern Peavey. So a couple years ago, I was living in Louisiana. I was in a sales job. I sold these high-tech gadgets and instruments that measured dangers to workers in heavy industry manufacturing. So this is like dust in the air, vibration to your body. So I was selling these products, and one of the customers I was immediately excited to go meet was Peavey. Peavey was in Meridian, Mississippi. That was in my territory. We'd sold some stuff to them. They seemed like they were a proactive company, really caring about the health and safety of their workers. And so I scheduled a call, I scheduled a time to come up and to meet with them, and I got there, and the day of, as I'd already driven 3 hours and gotten there, they canceled on me. That's not the end of the world. It kind of sucks, but I switched gears. I went and saw another customer there in town, but I couldn't help but notice when I did drive through their parking lot, because I was just kind of geeking out just being a music fan. I couldn't help but notice that there were a lot of empty parking spots, and this is 2015. It wasn't until probably the spring of 2016 that I was going to see them, and so I came back, and I made it to the office, and they still kind of blew me off a little bit because they just said that their needs were different than before, and that's okay. Part of that is just being in sales, and so things shift and change around, and especially if they don't presently need something that you're selling, they might push you off. But I noticed that time, man, there were not many cars. There were 15 or 20 cars in a parking lot of hundreds of parking spots. So lots of parking available. And that's when I kind of got deflated, and I went and I grabbed a cup of coffee at a local coffee shop, and I just was striking up conversation with somebody. I'm talking to him, and this person tells me that, yeah, they used to work for Peavey, and most of the town did work for Peavey, and that's where lots of people had grown up. Their parents and their grandparents had worked for Peavey, and they were making cabinets, and they were making amplifiers, they were building guitars. But then in 2015 and 2016 is when I didn't realize this, and this is what was really shocking, was they let everybody go. I mean, it got to where every instrument that they were making was made in China, and they did that at the expense of the town of Meridian, Mississippi. I mean, I think it was 1,800 jobs that they let go. By the time I finally talked to their emergency health and safety person, there were only 8 people that even worked at Peavey that were ever working on guitars. And that, at the time, it made me so sad. And it still does make me sad because Peavey's made some really great guitars, and they're really trying now to be in the social media space. But I feel like that phrase from when I was a kid is back. And I feel like I have a new understanding of what it means to sell out. To sell out your community for profit. To sell out the quality of your product for lower production costs in another country. I am not opposed to guitars and instruments made in Southeast Asia. But we do have to ask, is the money that we are spending actively causing suffering in the world? Or is it actively supporting a company that has ethics or business practices that you do not approve of? And if so, you really need to rethink how you're spending your money. So for me, I have not bought a Peavey product since 2013, and I don't plan on it. I'm not going to, because to me, they've sold out. They've hurt people that I know. And it is not an ethical company at this point. This is not a blast piece. This is just a conversation that we should have. We should talk about how our money causes suffering or brings joy in the world. And there are guitar companies that are bringing joy to the world, like JHS. They're a company that is wonderful. They are clearly making the world a better place, and they also support musicians. So let's listen to this Peavey. Let's hear how it sounds, and let's just rejoice in how good of a gift this thing is and why you should try and find cool, small tube amps. And this is such a sleeper. This thing's super affordable, super cool. Check it out. I'm playing my Mary Kay Strat that I built with Evan Dowie from Rude Guitars in New Orleans. This is just a super Strat, totally my style. Check it out. This amp is badass, it's powerful, it's small, it's super affordable, it's very light. It is a pain to fix. I am very thankful that I didn't actually have to take the board out of this, because the board is a U shape with a bunch of jumpers on the side. And so it's very easy to break coming out. It's very hard to replace or to repair. I'm thankful that just putting a new set of tubes in this got rid of the terrible problem I was having. Hey, I'm Jeremy, I'm the Guitar Hunter. Thanks for watching this video. Please hit the bell down here so that you know when I put new videos up. Please like, subscribe, and share this with your guitar playing friends. Let's together fill the world with music and friendship. If you want to do that, go to jeremytheguitarhunter.com, and in the store, you can buy a t-shirt. And that supports this channel, supports the work that we're trying to do in the world. Thanks for watching this video. Check out some of my other videos over here.